I'm Colt Stephens from C. Stephens Gunworks. The following video you're going to see is an archive of my earlier work. Some of these earlier videos of mine have some great information that I really wanted to repost and preserve. So I hope you enjoy the content and I hope you learn something from this video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Smith Wesson Shield M2.0 EZ Slide. So we've got this here. This is the factory box here. You can see this is the EZ Slide M2.0. If you can read that, it looks backwards to me, but who knows what it'll show up like. This is SKU 12437. If you're curious and want to look this one up, this is the 3.675 inch barrel. So we'll get started. This is an unboxing. This is brand new, straight from the factory. We'll see what we get here. We have the gun here in the blue wrapper here. And next up we have the factory manual there. If we can get it on there. Shield EZ Slide M&P 9 Safety and Instruction Manual. We have a California warning card. We have, it looks like your warranty card right there. You get an Allen wrench, I believe that's to adjust the sights. Extra magazine right here, so you get 2 total with this package. And your required gun wall. And that is everything in the box. I'll pack this away real quick. Alright, now we're on to the main event here. So here it is, straight out. It's got the chamber flag already in it, so I'll go ahead and pull that out. Here it is. And this is the pistol, the Smith & Wesson EZ Slide 9mm M2.0 right here. So this is a pretty cool gun. They're extremely high in demand right now. They're super popular, and that's because it is the EZ Slide. So if you're not familiar, Smith & Wesson produces these with a very lightened recoil spring. So if you're not familiar, it's like super easy. I can do this with 2 fingers. It's that simple to rack. And they market this primarily towards people that have a hand disability, that maybe they don't have a lot of hand strength, can't really pull it back normally with like their whole hand. They might not have enough hand strength to normally operate a semi-auto when they would normally be stuck with a revolver. Because of their hand strength, they can now operate a semi-auto because of this reduced recoil spring right there, that recoil spring. And this is also marketed as a pretty entry-level pistol. It's got a lot of features that you see like normally on a 22. If you notice, this magazine right here has a little tab right here that you can push down to load it. That's exactly like their M&P 22. So it's marketed towards new shooters, people that are just getting started, and like some of these ergonomic features that you don't really see in a lot of higher end stuff. I immediately think of like a Beretta. Like a Beretta is pretty much next to a Glock, one of the mainstream like operator tier high-end handguns. But compared to this, it's not very accommodating to new shooters. I mean, it's got kind of a stiff spring, I guess you could consider, unless you've practiced with them over and over. It doesn't really have a whole lot of features like that magazine well I just talked about, where you can pull down that spring that aids in the reloading. Adjustable sights is one thing I can think of right off. The Beretta 92 FS doesn't have adjustable sights at all. This one's pretty easy to change if you wanted it. They give you that Allen wrench right in the box to change it out. This one has, I believe, a loaded chamber indicator right there. If you can see it, runs right there to tell if there's one in it. That's kind of nice. It has the front serrations right here and right here, as well as on the back. And on the back, I just noticed it's got a little bit of a ridge that you can actually push against. Some Glocks, there's an aftermarket accessory for the back plate that they do that as well, so that's kind of nice. That aids in, especially elderly people that can't really get a good grip on that to pull it back. That's definitely helpful. So it's overall, if it's your first gun, you really want a 9mm, you maybe only shot a 22 or maybe no gun at all. This is definitely the one to get. I wouldn't really recommend the 380 over the 9. If you can find the 9, that's really the better one because you can kind of grow into the 9. The 380 is going to kind of limit you. And right now, 380 is a lot more expensive than 9 and a lot less available. The 9mm, they do give you a lot more options as far as ammo. You can go anywhere from 115 grain all the way to 150 grain, I believe. I think even Lehigh Defense makes some super low grain, like 90 grain projectiles as well. So you can really tailor your experience at that, the different ammo types. And this, the Easy Slide, I think is fairly accommodating. The only thing you might notice because of that light recoil spring is a little bit more recoil. But as long as you can pull the slide back and hang on to it, it's going to serve you well. So I definitely do recommend that. And it's just, as I said, it's marketed towards learners, and it's super easy to get a good knowledge of and practice with and get used to. So and overall, the disassembly here is pretty easy as well. You just rock this back, take the magazine out right here. Once it's back like this, you can press down on this lever right here, and it should just come right off. So there it is. It's really close to like the Beretta and the Glock takedown. It's very simple. It's just pull back and turn. So toolless disassembly, that's always good. So in here, right here, you can see that's where you do your adjustment of the rear sight with that Allen key. I don't think the front sight is adjustable. Nope, it is not. And those are dovetail, so if you ever want to replace those, which I believe they do make aftermarket sights for the front sight, that's a dovetail push out. You'll have to get somebody with a sight pusher to pull that out. But overall, it's very simple. There's not a whole lot going on in here, in there. So like I said, super easy to learn on, super easy to accommodate you if it's your first gun. Especially if you can't really handle a semi-auto and you want to just try it out, this is the one to get for sure. It's a little bit hard to get this slide back on here. Alright, so picking up where we just left off, it's been about 10 minutes. I was trying to put the thing back together. I will say this is my only complaint, is if anybody had just gotten one of these and didn't know what they were doing, putting it back together, I bricked it basically for a few minutes, and I had to fiddle with it for about 10 or 20 minutes trying to get it back together. Something was going on with this one. I don't know if it's just because it was new. And I'll show you what was happening. So the lug behind, I guess this is part of the barrel. So this lug right here, right at the edge, underneath the feed ramp, was getting stuck, I think, on the takedown lever. And so I'll show you where it was stuck on the slide. I basically put it back on. I don't know if I'll leave this in the video, but I put it back on, and it was about, let's see if I get it just right. Something's going on right here because it doesn't want to square up. It's trying to go on sideways. I'm not really clear why that is. Alright, I've got it this time. So this is the second time around. We'll see what happens. So in this one, this little piece right here, if I can get this, keeps slipping the rail. Oop, did something just fall out of there? So not sure what's going on with that. This appears to be the Alright, so the third time I took this particular pistol apart, the recoil spring has to be oriented a very particular way. So let me talk about this for a minute. So I spent 30 minutes on this pistol trying to get it back together. So in short, let me summarize what's going to happen. So an old person is probably going to buy this pistol, right? So they're going to take it home. What we advise people is every time you go to the range, you need to take it apart and clean it, right? So they're going to do that, take the magazine out. They may even watch this video, who knows? So they'll be right here, take it apart, pull this off. They'll be at this stage, right? They'll clean it, they'll do whatever, they'll put it back on. This spring right here has to be perfectly aligned, because if you notice, it's rounded on two sides, kind of like an oval, and you have to orient that just right. Otherwise, it will do what it was doing to me and not locking up. And you got to get that thing just right on here. Otherwise, it will do that. Let's see if that's right. Yep, so that's all it is right there. So I can guarantee you what will happen is some old person will buy this, get to that exact stage and get stuck, and bring it in and say, well, I don't know what happened, but my pistol doesn't work. So I don't know if in that scenario you should just not clean it, because it really needs to have oil maintained on it. It needs oil on the slide. But as far as putting it back together, it's not quite Glock level of quality, I would say. And this may just be something that's a symptom of they're trying to get them so quickly out the door, they're just throwing stuff together without reading the manual. And I don't even know if they say this in the manual, that it has to be oriented correctly. But most people are not going to read the manual, and they would soon come back into the store and get it serviced than they would read the manual. But I can easily see some old folk getting stuck on that. So the key answer to putting it back together is you have to put the round part on the bottom to interface with that barrel. Otherwise it'll get stuck. So the overall mechanics are great. Just don't take it apart. It's the short answer to all that time I messed with that pistol. I don't know if the 380 is any better. I think the 380 is a little bit of a lighter recoil spring, but I imagine it still has that same recoil spring type, the way that it locks into that barrel. So servicing, I would not say that's good, but the overall shooting the pistol, operating the pistol, that's usually great. Just don't take it apart, and if you do, maybe watch a YouTube video and figure out how to put it back together. That's one thing, because I'm sure we'll have somebody bring this one back in later to say, well, I got it stuck, how do I put it back together? So, moving past that, that's going to be a bunch to edit. We'll go over the spec sheet right now. So, as I said, this is the 12437 SKU. Smith Wesson M&P series, M&P 9 M2.0 Shield EZ Slide. Semi-auto, double action only, 9mm, polymer frame, polymer grip. White dot sights, it's adjustable. Like I said, on the inside of the slide, you saw the Allen key spot. The overall weight, now this is shipping weight, this is not the whole thing, is 2.25 pounds. Let me look. I can tell you what the weight of the pistol is right now. So this is 1 pound, 6.9 ounces. This is also known as 1.435 pounds, if you're curious, for just the pistol. It's a little bit heavy for a concealed gun, but it's not really marketed as a concealed gun. It's marketed as a learning gun. Reversible mag release, loaded chamber indicator, magazine load assist tabs. Those tabs I said on the magazine that make it easy to load, that's what they're talking about. And this is also UPC 0221-888-79216, if you're curious. So that's the pistol. So that's it for that. Let me just tell you about some of these pistols. So, as I said, they're kind of mass producing these things. When I began the video, my overall impression is, and this is more of a generalized thing, this is not really on Smith & Wesson, is they're producing pistols and guns at all, ammunition in such a high quantity that the quality control and quality in general is going to necessarily have to be lowered. And so some of these things may not be there by the time you get one of these, because right now we've only had one of these since February, right? So if in the future you get one, you may not have a clue what I'm talking about what do you mean it's rounded? The whole thing is round, why is it an oval? That is easily something they could probably fix and probably will phase out by the time you get your hands on one in 2021 or 2022, if you're interested in one of these. Now, that's not to say you can't get one, but you're going to spend an outrageous amount of money trying to get one of these, because they're super popular, and they are non-existent. Literally had one in 8 months, 8 to 10 months. I guess this is December, so this is 11 months since we've had one of these. That was back in February. I think just in general, you're going to see a lot of issues that really need to be sent back, and people may not know it needs to be sent back. Something like that is more inherent to the design, I think, rather than being an actual warranty fixable thing, because even if you sent that back in with that kind of problem, because I can see it now. I mean, you get an old person that buys one of those, gets the thing stuck, brings it into us, and we can usually figure out those kinds of things, right? But just knowing what's wrong with those is like 30 minutes of shop time, trying to figure out what went wrong with it. And it's actually part of the design that it can only go one way or the other. And I doubt any old person is going to fool with it that long to go and figure out what's wrong with it. They'll send it back to the factory, or they'll bring it in and say, oh, you sold me a defective gun. So in short, I guess just be careful of what you have. Make sure you're shooting it. Make sure you know exactly how that gun functions. It's better that you figure out the way that it goes back together before you need to use it, like in a home invasion type scenario. It's something you need to learn when you're practicing with it. Go ahead and, and this applies to any pistol, just take it apart, Make sure you know how to put it back together. Go ahead and oil it, because oil never hurts it, as long as you're not like chunking in the oil bucket. Just spray it down, wipe it down, clean out the barrel, make sure it's ready. Make sure you know how to use it. Make sure you know how to put it back together, for one thing. And it's really important to know that a lot of pistols have factory problems that go unaddressed. There's a lot of pistols, and we've had several that came straight from the factory with warranty issues. And the only way you would know is to sell it, right? Because it's not like we go out and shoot every new pistol. Because we're pretty much screwed either way. We have to buy it. You get what you get, pretty much, from the manufacturer. So you can either go shoot it, which is one thing. Then people are going to say, well, oh, it's used. You went out to the range and shot it. Or they buy it, they go shoot it, and it has a factory defect. And they bring it back and they say, oh, well, you sold me a defective gun. And nowadays it's so expensive for us to go shoot anything that we can't afford to go test fire everything, because you're talking about hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, even if you're talking about all the exotic calibers, just to go shoot it 10 times to make sure it all works. So just be aware that you might get a factory lemon. And nowadays, with the quantity they're putting out, they're cutting corners left and right, especially. And it may be something that in the future they say, oh, well, that's a 2020 gun. You don't want one of those. Get a new one. Get a 2030 gun. Get a 2015 gun. So we'll see how that pans out. Just be aware of what you're getting into with pistols nowadays. They're not all as the factory intends, or in this case, the factory designed it in a way that's not very accommodating to the end user. And not accommodating to us, because we're going to have to service it, even though it's really a user error, I guess. And it's something you could probably fix by reading the manual. So anyways, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.